Dante has guns and a holster, right? Got some boots. He needs a jacket still. And then he needs a sword. So I'm like, okay, we'll print the sword up real quick. It shouldn't be too difficult. Oh my goodness, has this been nothing but trouble. Let me pull you in so you can see what we've got and where we're going. So this sword has been brutal. First time I print this stupid thing, fails on me, right? So mad because it was right there, but it failed. Part of it came out because it was just enough that because the sword is just weird. But part of it came out. It's this weird trigger looking part, and it was just about that size. So it worked fine. Okay, not bad. So I decided to reprint it. Second print came out perfect, right? Only all my alignment pins are missing because I decided to cut it into 4 pieces instead of 3, just so I thought everything would print a little better. Lower height, less chance of messing stuff up. So for all of the modelers in the group, just curious what happened, is when I modeled these, I had the normals facing the wrong direction. So my slicing software didn't even acknowledge it. It was like, no, that's an inside piece. We don't deal with inside pieces. Just completely smooth. I was like, oh. Which was annoying because it printed perfect. And I'm sitting here going, I could probably make that work. But I wanted the strength of a bar in the middle. Lots of support material later. Third time I printed it. Unhappy. Fourth time, that was just not what I would consider fun. Fifth time though. Fifth time printed like a just perfect. Look at that thing. The funny part about this is that, like I said, I've got these alignment tubes going all the way through. I did alignment pins as well. I'm not going to use them. I don't think I need them. And famous last words, right? But in my infinite wisdom, the shaft I put in here, I put in as a 1/4 inch and didn't calculate for over extrusion. So it's just a little snug. So I had to drill from here, from the very tip to the base. And I put in a steel shaft because I thought that'd be funny. Because this thing, so real quick aside, conventions don't like metal weapons because they're dangerous. So most conventions have metal detectors. Metal detectors don't detect zinc, copper. They're looking for ferrous metal, something that has a magnetic charge to it. Most stuff will go through no problem. Since this has a steel shaft, this is going to set off a metal detector, and I find that unbelievably funny. It's stupid, but I find it funny. And look at this thing. Let's back up so I can show you the sword just a little better. So I download the character model for this game, and I pull it out, and it's just not useful. The amount of detail that's added from a texture map is ridiculous. But this thing is just the weirdest sword I think I've ever. Look at this. I don't even know what this is supposed to be, right? A little on the blade. Dante's Rebellion has a skull and rib cages, and this thing is not a skull and rib cages. I don't know what they were thinking. And the handle is huge. The blade itself isn't that bad. It's about the same as most of my Final Fantasy VII stuff. Most of this stuff over here, right? Considerably smaller than the Buster Sword. But most things are. Modeled it. So the software I use is unbelievable for hard-bodied dynamics. You want me to model a ship? No problem. Camera, anything just solid. I have a cricket. He's apparently my shop cricket. But any of that, easy. Organic shapes. I don't do well with organic shapes. So this took just forever to do. And it's not even all the detail, it's just most of the detail. I'm going to come in with a wood burning tool in a little bit and get all the detail once I smooth everything out. But first step, I have some 2-part epoxy. I'm going to 2-part epoxy this stuff in place. Now, since I had to drill it out, it is snug. And I'm not going to be able to take it out, put in alignment pins, and put everything back in because it's kind of welded itself in place. I was going to weld it as well, PLA weld it, but I don't think it needs it. I think there's just enough room. I'm going to start here. I'll probably slide all these off a little bit if I can, so I can get glue in there. From here to here is a brass pin. So, like I said, I wanted this thing to be really solid. I don't want to accidentally have anything go weird on me. But I'm going to 2-part epoxy that. That's where we're at now. But let's look at Dante real quick, because I think this is neat. He's got a sword, both guns, his necklace, which I think is wrong. There's supposed to be 5 points. This one only has 3. I'll deal with that in a bit. I got a simple Boy Scout belt, because he doesn't wear a belt, and I wanted something to blend in. White shirt, black pants, but these boots, I love these boots. They're only supposed to come to here. But, I like the taller. I may end up covering this Gore-Tex with some like red grave, because that's funny to me. I haven't decided yet. But this is the state Dante currently is in. We're going to 2-part epoxy this, using Loctite epoxy. So I'm going to try and slide this apart just a little bit. That should about do it. I'm not worried about where the handle and the blade meet. That's perfect. Check that out. I managed to get a decent gap in here now. Just going to fill that with the epoxy. It would be way better to sand everything first, but then I can't get everything back together because this, like I said, it's difficult. And the spots that I can't get, I won't be able to get no matter what. So, it is what it is, right? This stuff smells horrible. All right. Put that in place. Perfect. Do this guy. I am probably not going to be able to get this 100% lined up how I want to. Which is fine because I added extra layers so I could sand it down. All right. We just let it do its thing. It says 5 minutes. I'm gonna give it way more than 5 minutes. Probably give it overnight. Now we give it a bit, let it cure, and we'll come back when it's a little more dry. A little more dry. Dude, I can't speak today. I don't know what's going on. Must be my glasses. So now we're gonna let the glue cure, and we will come back once that's done. So start some preliminary sanding, right? Just to even things up a little bit, but that's where we're at now. I'm gonna have to sand this thing for days. A lot of sanding, and then even more sanding. I didn't glue the handle together because I'm gonna probably try and separate these two pieces. So I can paint this all silver and then this the whitish that it's supposed to be. But first, sand. I started with 80 grit, and it's gotten us down pretty okay. Luckily, this is very organic, so you know, if it's got layer lines, I'll be able to cover them a lot easier. And we're going to cover them with glazing putty. So again, I coat everything in glazing putty. A thin layer, nothing fancy. Just put it on, wipe it in, let it dry. And that's all we're going to do right now. You've seen me put glazing putty on before, or at least you should have seen me put glazing putty on before. If not, an entire catalog of videos to watch where I go over all this stuff. But right now, just glazing. You don't need to watch this. This goes over this very thinly, and we'll pick back up after that. First coat's on. So just actual Bondo glazing putty. I've got like 2 light coats on this guy, which looks fantastic. And then 1 on the blade. So before I started, everything was sanded to 80 grit. Now I'm sanding to 150. And that's where we're at now. Just gonna hand sand everything nice and easy, smooth it out, see where we're at. Probably do another coat of Bondo, but we'll see. We'll see. So there's a point where I put on some good music, hang up my shirt, and just go to town. So I'm probably gonna, you know, time lapse all this. There's no point in all y'all's watching me sand and not talk. Plus, if I time lapse it, I can listen to some music. See you on the other side. Alexa, resume. Round 2, glazing putty. Again, the more you sand and the smoother this thing gets, the less you're going to need. I don't know if I'm doing another round after this. I might not. We'll see. But again, I'm just looking for all these dark areas, and that's where I want to focus. This dark area is somewhere that didn't get sanded. And since my table's squeaky, we're gonna jump to this being done. So what I'm gonna do, gonna put a couple more coats of this on, a couple more coats of sanding. I'll see you when we're about to prime. So I changed my mind. I want to spray the whole thing all at once. I put everything together, it's glued, it's sanded to the point that I think it's going to be sanded at. Now it's just primer. So let's get to it. I think we're at a very good place with the sword. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it is very good. So I am going to hit it with the first coat of silver. So I'm just going to use Metal Cast base coat. I really like this base coat. It looks just amazing. We're going to be going just with base coat. But for now, let it dry overnight. Second coat tomorrow. Silver's drying right now. But I need to do the handle. The handle's this weird bone color, so I'm going with this Rust-Oleum Camouflage. It's a mid-grade, and then I have a ×2, but it's an off-white. So do the base in this, and then I'm going to lightly dust all the highlights in this. Let's see what I mean in a second. The art on this stupid thing, it looks all very monochrome. It all looks the same, you know, tone. So I picked up chrome clear coat. Just gives it a nice hue. I'm going to lightly dust the handle with this chrome stuff, and then I'm going to do the whole blade with it as well. So it's all the same sheen, but it still keeps its individual color. But first we're going to do some weathering. I have brown and black acrylic paint. Let me set you down real quick. And I got a bottle of water. A very soft brush. Let me pull you around so you can see what I'm about to do. So the blade's pretty clean. This part here, it's going to get some washes. There's actually a crack that comes in along here I'm going to hand paint in. This is just going to get a wash of water and acrylic paint. And I'm just going to put it all over the thing. Trying not to get too much on the blade. On a paper towel, wipe 90% of it off. It's going to stay in the recesses. So then we just keep doing that until we're happy with it. This sword's been ridden hard and put away wet way too many times. So there's a lot of color and texture on it that can only work in our benefit. So there is a couple of minutes. That's very little. So we keep going. We're going to do the same thing but with black on the blade part. Since it's a brown to black, I'm not even going to fully rinse off my brush. If I was going the other way, I'd have to. But this, nah, not so much. Looks about right. This is where I would normally grab a script liner brush, but those are inside and I don't feel like going in to get one. Alright, I'm happy with that. The clear I'm putting over this is a lacquer. And lacquers do not like water. So I have to make sure this is completely dry before I do anything else. Here it is after the coat. Nice light coat. It has muted all of my color, which is kind of what I expected to have happen. I've got reference up over on the Raspberry Pi that runs my laser cutter. And then we're just going to add in all the detail in dry brushing. Or not dry brushing, in acrylics. And pull around. We'll see what we're doing. So now most of this is just going to be black, stippled, and wiped off. But there's a lot of texture and color going on right about here. All right, now we're gonna let it dry for a bit. We may add a couple more coats, but I think we're pretty good. So I went over it a couple more times with a little bit of mid-tones, right? And a gold, and the gold really brought it out. I am super happy with this thing. It is fantastic. Let's do the slow pan, right? It looks amazing. I'm super happy with how it turned out. For the character, it's perfect. It's a fantastic prop sword, and I am super happy with it. There's no way to get this whole thing on camera. I have no idea how I'm going to do the thumbnail on this one. Probably shut everything off and just leave it like this for a second. But it turned out amazing. I put a coat of clear over it. Clear. I'm using Rust-Oleum's custom clear. Stuff is fantastic. I like it better than the automotive clear I normally use. But I love this thing. It turned out great. Little to no problems, which is a shock, other than the weird printing. Printing's always a problem. But that brings us to the end of the video. If this is your kind of thing, maybe thinking about sticking around, liking and subscribing. It really does help the channel grow. Maybe leave a comment, share, you know, whatever you feel I've deserved. Whatever you feel I've earned, I should say. This is what I do. Hope to see you next time. Last bit of Dante jacket. We're going to do some sewing next time. Stick around.